Patterns are everywhere in nature and even cities. It is the art of repeating elements which is pleasing to the eyes of humans and considered as an art. In nature, it's very evident in flowers, leaves, its elegant arrangements and symmetry makes it so beautiful. In the furs, scales, feathers of the animals' patterns can be seen. That's why most arts emphasize animal skins and flowers. In arts, patterns is one of the things most considered. It's useful when applied in architecture and engineering. Not only in the naked eye, we can identify patterns in a phenomenon like the date, time, and climate follows a series of patterns. This thing can be observed and experienced. So, what is pattern anyway, and why is it important? According to the Encyclopedia of Cambridge, pattern is a regularity in the world. In human-made design or in abstract ideas, as such, the elements of a pattern repeat in a predictable manner. A geometric pattern is a kind of pattern formed of geometric shapes and typically repeated like a wallpaper design. Any of the senses may directly observe patterns.
In nature, patterns is used by plants, animals, insects, fungi, and other living creatures. The best very obvious example comes from the variety of flowers. Take a look at the sunflower. Its pattern follows the golden rule, as it arranges in orderly manner as they are always facing the sun. Now, take a look at the bumblebee's hive. They store honey in a series of hexagonal-shaped beeswax, perfect storage of food for no space is wasted.
Patterns offer great architecture. Architectures from all over the world uses patterns, symmetry to make their houses. Take example of the house of King Yuma, the head architect of Ariajo KHM. He uses patterns of triangle in building his home. Another example is the futuristic homes of the Netherlands. Its circular-shaped home provides more space and brings people closer to nature. Bol Homes was built in 1984 by the Dutch government for experimental housing. In engineering, patterns are applied in great structures, mechanisms, and equipments. Origami patterns are used to save space for its ability to change shape and size in a blink of fold. Take example of the NASA star shapes in its using origami to build a giant star blocker in hopes of imaging distant world.
Patterns is a very essential element when it comes to art. Patterns are actually seen in all aspects of life. But how does pattern be used in art? Are you familiar with checkerboard that is used to play chess? It is a pattern, right? The alternate black and white tiles make sense to it to give soothing and satisfying effect. In art, patterns can come in many forms. An artist may use color to signify a pattern, repeating a single or select palette of color throughout a work. They can also use lines to form patterns such as in op art. Pattern can also be shapes, whether geometric such as mosaics or natural such as floral patterns that are found in art.
Patterns can also be seen in an entire series of work. Andy Warhol's Campbell's Soup Can of 1962 is an example of a series that, when displayed together as intended, creates a distinct pattern. As another example, are you familiar with those woven blankets made by different ethnic groups here in the Philippines, such as the Inabel in Ilocos? Those made in Luzon differ from those in Visayas, so was in Mindanao. And that makes sense. Their patterns are unique. Every region have their own patterns, so that's how important patterns are when it comes to art.
To sum it up, pattern is a very vital element in art, as the quote made by a German designer named Jill Sanders. I sometimes feel that a pattern is almost a fashion statement in itself.
Patterns. Patterns cannot only be seen, but it can only be heard. As you can observe from guitar players, their way of playing their guitars has a certain pattern to it. The way they strum their guitars is an example of this. Another example of this are the chord progressions that they use. These chords are used to make different sounds in different pitch. There are the patterns that are used playing guitar or any other stringed instrument,